If we Slavs are good at one thing, it would be inventing the tastiest dishes with the cheapest ingredients. That being said, we Slavs are great at many things. So not only did we manage to invent the best dessert ever, but we also add cinnamon on top. Can be that level of ingenuity. And we also used the fitnessiest food ever, rice. But no with chicken this time, because chicken may be expensive and it doesn't really go well in dessert if you ask me. All jokes aside though, this is one of the tastiest things you can eat. And it is also super simple, so let's check it out. For this dessert you need 200 grams of rice, 100 to 150 grams of sugar. You can add more if you like more sweetness.
Служи повече да има. Полезно е за гърлото и голям ще праснеш.
Some vanilla variety, 800 milliliters of milk and around 400 milliliters of water. Typically water is for plants, but we'll use it in this dessert. And of course you need cinnamon. After that, enter the secret code for the Slavic sequence for making Slav rice pudding. Turn your stove on medium to high and put a pot on. Add the rice in, pour the whole amount of water and add the lid on. Cook the rice on medium heat until no water is left in the pot. Be careful for the rice not to stick to the bottom of the pot. Use a non-stick pot if such is available to you.
Но време нямахме такива леготи.
Give the rice a nice stir and pour all the milk on top. Now cook the rice for some time. You should constantly mix with your spatula so the milk won't burn or stick to the pan with the rice. We want the starches from the rice to be released in the milk so everything would become creamy like a nice pudding. Be careful with the stove, as I said it should be on medium heat all the time. Meanwhile, add in some salt, just a sprinkle of it to enhance the flavors, and continue mixing. After it starts to thicken up, it's time to add the sugar. Also, time to add the vanilla. Continue mixing for some time until it starts to look creamy and the rice is cooked. This is the tricky part, by the way. Basically you need a strong hand to constantly mix for around 10 minutes because you don't want to taste the burnt milk or your rice to stick to the pan. But I assure you this dessert is totally worth it in the end.
Че аз лошо нещо показала ли съм ти?
When it starts to bubble, it means the milk has been reduced enough and we should remove our rice pudding from the stove. Move it to a cooling rack and give it a nice mix, just to make sure everything's fine. Time to transfer to bowls. I'll use the scale to make the portions even. The easiest way to transfer is with a ladle, of course, but you can use the silicone spatula for the final bowl when there's not much left of the rice pudding in the pot. Give a final mix to every bowl with a spoon and time to add some cinnamon. If you don't like cinnamon, by the way, feel free to skip it. When I was a kid, I hated it and thought it was some kind of spicy pepper, but now as I'm wiser and older Slav, I love it. The more the better if you ask me.
А така, служи малко повече, полезно било за кръвното.
Slav difficulty level 2 out of 5. The recipe has its tricky moments, but it's not hard after all. Just remember, don't cook on high heat. Constantly stir and boil the rice in some water first. And that's it. You should be fine. And one more important thing, eat this cold from the fridge if possible. It is 10 times better the next day, by the way. Just make sure to cover it with something if you're adding the bowls in the fridge. There are our rice puddings. You can enjoy them with the cinnamon, you can add some nice jam on top. I love them with some homemade fig jam, by the way. It's a perfect cheap dessert if you ask me. Cheap is even an understatement in that case. This is a treat with which I have grown, and rice should not be eaten only in savory dishes. It's a perfect addition to desserts also.
Еми да, като нямаш десерт, смесваш ориз с захар и ядеш.
Slav you next time, comrades.